Hello, MSNBC. The FBI has rules with wire crime, mail crime acts and methods, predicate acts with facts methods, and with names. There are rules with like places, campuses. There are rules with the kids. There are rules with whole predicate acts with facts method, using the right to lie where they don't have the right to lie, using the right for the interpretation of their differences. Even a lawyer of retired police chiefs from Wethersfield, one of the lawyers involved, is on public television. The difference between their collusions with public television or the news, WFSB, Connecticut's Channel 3 News. They attached me to fake conversations with themselves and with others about the World Trade Center attack, and fake conversations with doctors who forged names of other doctors, put me in fake transcripts, conversations with themselves and with other doctors and with other agencies and with federal criminals associated with their co-defendants, like co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, in a 2006 district court case. He has rules of people that are influenced to act, and they take a picture of someone like a fake exception tied to them. I had nothing to do with Rick Faglione in downtown Hartford before. They lied about how he was there. They timed where I was going to be made to look like we never made plans to go anywhere. Rick Faglione's involved with people from Quinnipiac University, involved with the family members of judges and prosecutors, with sexual and medical offenders of kids. A Leahy family has been involved with them with identity theft, fraud, slanders against me, with others tied to them, since at each campus and next to ones I went. And Joe DeMoro lived next to the campus I went in kindergarten, where there was a Ray Reynolds in that class. I went there one year that school closed. I never saw Joe DeMoro there. They're making fake ties to me with this Joe DeMoro since I was a kid. He has rules with home break-ins. Heather Hansen has rules with at least 2 of them, but she knew of at least 3 of them. But they have, and they're her educators. I never had a class with her. They put me, my neighbor, her, and Joe DeMoro in a summer school class with Mr. Neville. Has something to do with names all along Route 3, which goes right by the state judicial branch offices. No. And conjunctions to it, like Wethersfield Pizza is right there near it. Near the state judicial branch offices too. Increasingly, people with Wethersfield Pizza went out of their way to make identity theft, fraud, slanders of me with their educators too. I never saw a Maria Vazina or a Maria Stocco on a Wethersfield campus in my life, by the way. A Stephen Stocco, I only saw, no, he non-verbally demonstrated to me he's criminally foreign influence with his, and confirmed. Central Connecticut State University Intelligence and Foreign Intelligence have roles with the Stephen Stocco and a whole bunch of people tied to him who have roles with the principal child abuser that was brought up to me, also with others involved with him, by Robert Rodriguez on my street, who's one of the ones also with a Mike Roberts with state police, interstates, involved with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and these names talking in the news, like with the name Shea. I never had a personal conversation with Mr. Shea. I don't know if they're related. And people with the other things. In other words, they have on Facebook too, the Facebook page of New Britain Superior Court, Harper Courts in Connecticut's District Court, or New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page has rules with a whole bunch of people that made confessions before the World Trade Center attack tied to that court, and every year since. And as ones that were in the World Trade Center, next at the spot, the World Trade Center, neighbors of the people that were in the World Trade Center attack as victims. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Except for those who did it and who are covered, even the ones covered up. In other words, even the one who did it, in other words, they were used remotely since they were kids, demonstrably, for what I recorded at each campus I went to relative to this. You guys confessing it. WFSB, Connecticut's Channel 3 News, attached me to fake conversations with them themselves and with others about the World Trade Center attack. That's not by accident. I can't get one person to communicate with me. Everyone, the people that I tried to communicate with, in other words, before the World Trade Center attack, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants, their family members and neighbors of their family members were involved inter and intra-cities and inter and intra-campuses with predicate acts with facts methods, identity theft, fraud, slanders. Joseph Dennis and Eric Burgess recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed they have roles with intelligence families and mayors and their educators. I never had classes with them involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders against me with people from other classrooms. They try to make fake exceptions of people knowing each other. Increasingly, in other words. So they're also fishing for truths to use for lies. There's more predicate acts with facts rules. All sides of criminal and civil cases, sometimes not even where it counts, not knowingly, because they're being having to use remotely at the same time as the interbranch names forging, sequence shifting. I've been begging Judge Napolitano to get them my paper, one name and sequence, because the police departments with the same house /S, personally and professionally, they have wire crime acts and methods. They pretended with the news, also other things, not just about the World Trade Center attack. They pretended I had conversations with the police as a kid, and now as an adult, they have collusions with that through time. This is extortion, torture, and slavery method against not just me, against every single person. But it's got roles with it. Otherwise, that body is sensed, including if it is a majority of people, including if it is everyone, and that is adapted to. Also, relative to where, as an answer to where and how we have black people's rights of eyes, and that was left out. How nature's body is discernible with this, because it also has other, even fish with two eyes. It shows us distinctly, but non-distinctly, too, and simultaneously, but also per that / hyper simultaneously. That is neither them nor us, and won't be, but it gains our value with a part where it will anyway. It gains all values. Even anything that is made up is one identity of hyper possession over the difference and relative to the value of the difference of the smallest finite detail of that thing made up, even, or the value of the order of the finite. And then further, as distinctly, non-distinctly, simultaneously / hyper simultaneously, we can discern itself, not just because it's the one that is generated fish and humanity and all these species. It has an equal, the identity of all space / existence has an equal, as an identity of relativity, positive and negative equally. But then Earth has a concentrated value. And so where and how we have a concentrated value, too, hyperdimensionally from this, but distinctly from the rest of Earth. The rest of Earth doesn't have criminal foreign influences. And there is roles also with the difference of guilt. There are all kinds of predicate acts with facts methods associated with the prisons, too. And people on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state corrections offices. They have roles of all kinds of predicate acts with facts, much worse than they've been even putting little kids in jail for. Certain type of victim / hyper victim that can't afford to have discerned what witch trials are about. Regardless if they were made up, they're about those crazy laws against every single person. Sickly, distinctly, northern colonies, southern colonies, even with the black entranced. And you guys left out, not just with nature communicates, black people's rights of life, inseparable from the subject. You guys left out the breaching method. While as rules pretending other, as nature's pretending other, while as rules replacing that breaching method having been a subject in the communications of our founders. hiding and screening really your motivations for roles using the words of our founders, pretending that you don't realize that nature itself too is demonstrating using the words of our founders dishonestly. You guys are putting passions and emotions dishonestly regarding the Constitutional Convention, regarding the Declaration of Independence of the Constitution itself. All mandated law. Get them on paper. One name in sequence. Get them on paper. They got people involved with violence on my street, intercities through time. I'm going to show you how to deal with it peacefully. You guys want to make fun, man? Get them on paper with the police too, because they have their roles with the violence still. And with Saudi Arabia, the Saudi attackers, Wethersfield police have roles with that. It's something to do with their roles with the intelligence on Valley Crest and conjunctions to it. People with the name Schedule, they'll tell you. They might have pretended other, but they don't know me. In other words, they have roles with some of the judges' family members involved with drugs and medicines, crimes, identity theft, frauds, and relative delusions, and sexual circles involved with that, where they make all sides of issues and the people looking and the thing, because all sides of criminal and civil cases are being and haven't been used remotely. Increasingly, they're using too consciously, where they put fake ties and fake natures of ties to kids at each campus. I can only speak for myself, and everyone will tell you this. They were influenced to change and fake what they thought about me. But they have delusions too, though. So you have to get them on paper. In other words, and they were putting me in a fake sequence, fake ties, fake natures of ties to themselves and others. The investigators of all natures are being and haven't been used remotely, criminally foreign influence through investigations. Investigators, they hide behind people having been tactically pseudo-educated to keep, our founders' communications replaced and self-value roles, but much worse, to keep you guys sensing for the breaching method too and screening it. Please follow mandated law and say sorry to Judge Napolitano. Especially if that one is related to a Hanson or a DeMauro, the one who looks just like a Joe DeMauro, involved with the John DeMauro and the Paul DeMauro, with some wire crime acts and methods with the intelligence community, including former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his defendant capacities, with a whole bunch of people at and next to Fox Connecticut News, at and next to WTC, which is also FBI, and at and next to, as one's at and next to WFSB, also some Jewish themed with that, and Saudi Arabia, involved with Saudi predicate acts with waiting forensics, has state police, I don't know, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, trying to make fake exceptions too, increasingly interstates. Mike Roberts has roles with state police families and the FBI and the other agencies involved with the ones with the name Collusion, involved, and others I don't know the names of, involved with them, and the Smith family near them. In other words, with the Wethersfield police phones, and some guy says he's going to stab my eyes out. So we're going to have a peaceful means, because it's on all sides of my house. They've been planting evidences too, on Facebook too. New Britain Superior Court has roles with Wethersfield police, with a Joshua Schumack on the Facebook page of the principal child abuser when it was being forced. And they faked and changed digital evidences, including tied to body dumping spots that were increasingly then brought up when the campus was brought up to me. And the names next to the campuses have connections to themselves as roles with predicate acts, illusions, and identity theft, fraud, slanders. They'll tell you too. People are attaching everyone to fake to change the communications with each other. As the ones intercities on campuses planting evidence on my street too. Probably trying to put me fake ties, fake natures of ties to me just because they're people of my age. These are the same ones with the courts forging and switching names, speaking fake things in records. They've been stacking fake records with people at the Britain Superior Court since I was a kid. Harper courts have been doing this. These same names. There's a Phil Collusion further involved with a Bob Chase, with Whiting Forensics, as one of the names involved with violence on my street. I don't know where he lives. His cousins are on my street. The Wethersfield police brought up the name Collusion in their confessions where they confess switching names. And then they speak like pretending they don't realize that. They're stacking fake things with their descriptions, other interactions with me and with others on a mass scale. That they do all kinds of things to make people raise their voices next to campuses, for example. All kinds of behavior racketeering, worse than war crimes, with people pretending to be teaching kids about social and behavior, like tied to a Michael Emmett, and people that work for him are further involved with medical and sexual offenders of kids who are once timed roles with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and the family members of judges and of prosecutors also criminally involved. Other natures of employments with those courts, including victims advocates, collusions against the victims and other victims at the same time, because their uses of their differences. See, nature shows us we have different color eyes and the same color eyes, also being projected by its body. Not our body, not the other species' bodies, but anyway. And so we could see the rest of it too, how it is distinct, non-distinct. Hypersonic. Thank you.